The grand hall of the shimmered under the glow of hundreds of levitating luminescent orbs, each casting a soft, iridescent light across the polished obsidian floors. The aroma of exotic spices and roasted meats filled the air, mingling with the delicate scent of alien blossoms arranged in floating crystalline vases. I had never seen anything so overwhelmingly luxurious, yet also intimidating. I was just a human, a simple explorer, a trader for mirth, a species most of the Celestarians regarded as quaint at best. And yet, here I was, standing at the edge of the royal banquet, my hands clasped nervously behind my back, watching dignitaries from 100 different star systems glide past on anti-gravity platforms. Their shimmering robes of woven energy fabric and bioluminescent jewels made me feel painfully out of place. The Celestarian nobility barely spared me a glance. To them, I was a novelty, a curiosity at most. They spoke in melodic tones, their words carrying an elegance that even translation devices struggled to capture. And then, of course, there was the princess. I had heard whispers about her, the heir to the Celestra throne. Stories claimed she was not only intelligent and commanding but also daring and unpredictable. She was said to have walked across the floating gardens of the palace in zero gravity, unassisted, while most nobles relied on anti-gravity harnesses. And tonight, she was the focus of every eye in the hall. I shifted uncomfortably. The seating was arranged with precision. Every noble had an assigned place, every human envoy a distant corner. The further I glanced, the more I realized that there was no seat for me. My heart sank. I had crossed half the galaxy to attend this banquet, hoping to establish alliances, perhaps even earn the trust of powerful Celestarians. Instead, I was left to hover awkwardly near the serving platforms, clutching my translation device like a lifeline. Quite the predicament, isn't it? A soft voice said beside me. I turned sharply. A young Celestarian diplomat, her skin a shimmering silver hue, regarded me with curious amusement. I can't imagine a human being ignored at a royal event, she said, though her tone was polite. Usually, they parade you for entertainment. I forced a smile. I suppose I should be grateful they didn't throw me out entirely. She chuckled, her laughter like wind chimes in a breeze. Maybe you're just unremarkable. Or maybe you're remarkable in a way they don't understand. Before I could respond, the hall shifted with a subtle energy, the kind that only royalty could command. Every head turned. All chatter faded to whispers. The princess had arrived. Ilara descended onto the central platform, her presence magnetic. Her hair flowed like liquid starlight, cascading over shoulders adorned with an armor-like ceremonial gown, plated with what seemed like fragments of pure light. Her eyes scanned the room, and for a moment, it felt as though she was looking directly at me. The hall erupted in polite applause, yet I remained frozen in place. The other nobles whispered, nudged one another, and began to take their seats, but not me. I felt the weight of the crowd's expectation pressing down, the invisible barrier that separated a human from centuries-old royal tradition. Minutes dragged. I began to wonder if my presence here was a mistake, if Earth had sent me halfway across the galaxy for nothing. And then she walked toward me. I blinked. Surely I was imagining it. The princess, known for her impeccable grace, moved through the crowd, ignoring the flutter of attendants and aides. Her eyes, glowing softly with an inner light, fixed on me as if she could see past the translation devices, past the language barriers, straight to the person I truly was. "I see you've been standing all evening," she said, her voice clear and melodic, reverberating gently in my mind. "Perhaps it's time you joined me." Before anyone could react, she gestured to an empty chair beside her. The hall fell into a stunned silence. Nobles exchanged incredulous glances, some stiff with disbelief, others with barely concealed curiosity. A human, a simple envoy, seated beside the princess herself? It was unprecedented. I hesitated, but her hand remained extended. With a swallow, I stepped forward, lowering myself into the chair. My heart raced so fast I feared it might betray me. She offered a small, approving smile, and for a moment, the weight of the hall's scrutiny lifted. I was no longer a mere observer. I had been chosen. "Do not let them intimidate you," she said softly. "Tonight, we speak as equals. Tell me, human, what do you see in our galaxy that your kind values most?" Her question startled me. Most humans would have faltered under the gaze of a princess. Yet, something in her eyes encouraged honesty. I took a deep breath. "We value connection," I said, my words flowing steadier than I expected. "Understanding one another, even across worlds, across species. We seek to learn and sometimes to protect. I believe that is what drew me here, to understand and perhaps to offer what humans can." Ilara's eyes sparkled. "A noble answer," she said, leaning slightly closer. "Few dare speak truth when surrounded by such expectations. Tell me, human, do you think your kind could survive among Celestarians?" I smiled wryly. Survive? Perhaps. Thrive? That would be the challenge. But if you have room for a stubborn human, I might manage both. She laughed, a sound that drew glances and softened the rigid atmosphere of protocol. "Perhaps that is why I chose you to sit here," she said. "You do not merely adapt. You challenge, you question, you persist. That is rarer than any jewel in this hall." Conversation flowed more naturally after that. Other nobles approached, initially hesitant, but gradually more curious than disdainful. I found myself engaged in discussions about interstellar trade, terraforming projects, and even the ethics of first contact diplomacy. And all the while, Ilara remained at my side, her presence both protective and empowering. Hours passed, the banquet stretching into the night. Between courses, we exchanged stories. I learned that she had trained in the ancient art of star navigation, mastering patterns of light and gravity. She had once raced across asteroid fields without a single error, outpacing even her fleet commanders. In turn, I shared tales of Earth's oceans, of mountains and deserts, of humanity's art, music, and ingenuity. It was in that exchange, amidst laughter and awe, that I realized something profound. The princess did not merely tolerate me, she respected me. Not as a human novelty, not as an object of curiosity, but as a being with thoughts, insights, and courage. But of course, a royal life is never without tension. A noble from approached, his expression icy. "Princess, you should not be entertaining a human at the main table. It is unorthodox." Ilara's gaze cut him down like a comet. "I am the one who chooses unorthodoxy," she said, her voice a sharpened melody. "And I have chosen to speak with this human. You may leave if you cannot bear witness." The noble's indignation did not waver, but he retreated, muttering under his breath. I felt a surge of gratitude toward her, not for the protection, but for the trust she had placed in me. As the night drew to a close, the princess stood and raised her glass, the room falling silent once more. "To courage," she said, her eyes finding mine across the room. "Not only the courage to fight or rule, but the courage to speak, to listen, and to bridge worlds." Her words resonated deeply within me. I realized that my journey to Celestra had been more than diplomacy or duty. It had been about proving that humans, often underestimated, could rise to meet challenges, could earn respect across galaxies, and could form bonds that transcended species and tradition. When the banquet ended, attendants prepared to escort guests to their quarters. Yet Ilera lingered beside me. "Walk with me," she said. We strolled through the palace gardens, gravity fields adjusting to allow us to float gracefully among the bioluminescent flora. "Tell me, human," she asked, "will your people return? Will you come back?" I considered the question. Earth seemed a lifetime away, yet here, under the twin moons of Celestra, it felt as if I had found a place where possibility thrived. "If the galaxy will have me," I said honestly, "then yes. I will return. And next time, perhaps not just as a guest, but as an ally." Ilera smiled, and for a moment, her radiant aura softened into something almost familiar, almost human. "Then we shall see what our futures hold," she said. As we paused beneath the glow of a floating blossom, I realized that I had been chosen not merely to sit beside a princess, but to stand alongside hope itself. Humanity was small, perhaps fragile, but the universe was vast, and tonight, I had earned a place in it, recognized not for novelty, but for courage, wit, and heart. And as the stars of Celestra shimmered above, I knew that this was only the beginning of a story far larger than myself, a story where humans could rise, where respect was earned, and where the bonds between worlds were forged not through dominance, but through understanding. For the first time in my life, I felt truly seen.